Look at this poor neglected dog. She's almost out of treats. So today, using just 3 simple whole ingredients, we are going to take care of that and, with 3 more, make Spoiled Dog her dinner. For Gracie's dinner, I add 2.5 cups of brown basmati rice, 2 medium sweet potatoes cubed with the skin on, 1 3/4 pounds of beef stew, and just under 5 cups of water to my Instant Pot. I add them in this order specifically so that the stew meat stays mostly on top, so that later I can easily get the meat out to shred it. I pop the lid on and hit the pressure cook button. Turns out it's already at the 22 minutes I need. I check the vent to ensure it's closed and walk away. To make Gracie her cookies, I will be using my food processor. I start out by adding 2 cups of dry rolled oats to my food processor. Depending on how big the bananas are and how well I really measure out my peanut butter, I may need to add a little more oats later. I turn on my processor and let it break those oats into tiny bits for about 30 seconds. You probably don't actually need to let it go this long, but it doesn't hurt if you do. Then I check it to see if my oats have become a coarse powder. They have. So now it's time to add the bananas. These bananas are ripe, but not too ripe. They haven't yet become squishy soft. Just toss them in. Next comes a 1/2 cup of peanut butter. If I still had a metal 1/2 cup measurer, I would have used that instead, but somehow I managed to break the handles off of both of the ones that I had. You will want to use only all natural, gotta mix it up, runny peanut butter. The kind where the ingredients are just peanuts or peanuts and sea salt. I get mine at Costco, which has salt in it, though I'm not too concerned about the salt. My jar is almost empty and the clumpy dry bits at the bottom are not making this easy to do. Next, toss the banana peels into the compost bin. Once the bin is full, we bring the bag out to our makeshift compost enclosure. Though it's a little bit on the dry side, we've got some compost action going. Crazy to think that this used to be fruit and veggies. Back to our ingredients. I once again turn on the food processor and let it work its magic for a bit. I can already kind of tell as it's going that the dough is too loose. The dough should be sticky, but not like this. So even though it's a bit late to add in the ground down oat flour, I just add more whole oats. I do about 1/2 cup at a time until I reach a sticky dough that still wants to hold its shape. You can see here it still wants to cling to my fingers a little too much, so I toss in another 1/2 cup of oats. I see that the processor is struggling a bit, and though that is the ball I ultimately want, I can see that it's not catching the bit at the bottom. So I help it out a little bit with my spatula. I have to be careful because the first time I made these dog cookies, I lost a bit of my spatula to the super sharp blade at the bottom of the food processor.
All right.
Oh, what?
What?
Ay. Oh, took a chunk out of my spatula.
What?
Yes.
Wait, how?
Success. This is exactly what I was looking for. Though I do have to hold it or it'll walk right off my counter. Another quick check and we are good enough. Turns out I probably could have used a 1/4 cup less. It's a teensy bit on the dry side. But this dough is extremely forgiving and let's be honest, Gracie ain't so picky. I set my oven to 285 degrees. Now you should probably set your oven to 300. I just happen to know that my oven temperature is 16 degrees warmer than what the display says, so I adjust accordingly. It's a very warm summer day in sunny Southern California, so I have my floor fan going. So trying to play with cling wrap with the wind is a challenge. I always roll out my cookies using cling wrap. I know you're supposed to roll out the dough using extra flour to stop it from sticking to your surface. And though I have heard many people swear by using parchment, I actually find this easier for a few reasons. First, it's way less messy than flour. Second, I find that when rolling out on parchment, the paper crinkles up easily into the dough and I'm constantly having to pull it off and readjust it flat. Third, if I end up not using all of my dough at one time, which could definitely happen with this recipe if you have only a small cookie sheet, I simply fold over the plastic and toss the whole thing in the fridge. I have grown to love this metered rolling pin. It's simple to change out the guides. I use the 1/4 disc for pretty much any rolled out cookie dough. This dough is a little tough, so it requires a bit of extra pressure to get it all smoothed out. By the way, no need to refrigerate this dough. Today I'm using my bone cutters and a little heart cutter. It doesn't look like I have a lot of dough here, but looks can be deceiving. It makes a lot of these small 2 to 2.5 inch cookies. I think I ended up with about 66 today. Each time I make these, I'm fighting for space on my large cookie sheet by the time I'm finished. Also, I bake these cookies on a silicone mat. It's not necessary though, parchment would work as well. Though to be honest, you probably could just plop them right onto the cookie sheet and they would come out just fine. As with most rolled cookies, I need to re-roll the dough multiple times. Now into the oven they go. Ooh, you can see the Instant Pot over there with the spoiled dog's dinner in it has finished cooking and now it's on its way to being done. I do let the pressure release naturally for this recipe. I set my timer for 30 minutes and wait. I know they're done when the bottoms are slightly golden brown. It is not necessary to put these cookies on a cooling rack. I let them cool completely on the cookie sheet. Gracie's jar is now complete. These treats should only be left on the counter for about a week. So the rest go into the freezer. Yes, we call these tookies. Anyone else speak like a baby to their dog? Time to finish preparing dinner. It sure looks like it's something you would eat, doesn't it? Though I doubt it would taste very good. No salt. I wouldn't be eating it anyway. Haven't been a meat eater for 18 years and I'm not gonna start now. I shred up the beef so that it mixes in nicely with the rice and sweet potatoes. We call this dinner Cowie Wowie, and she most certainly knows that name. I also make a variation of this called Chicky Chicky, with, you guessed it, chicken breast instead of stew meat. The amount I made is a lot. So with the leftovers, I usually fill 3 to 4 quart-size zip-top bags. One goes into the fridge and the others go into the freezer. One bag usually lasts somewhere between 5 and 7 days. Believe it or not, the meat has never gone bad in that time frame. When I pull a new bag out of the freezer, I just plop it into the fridge and it thaws out by the next day when I need to use it. Unless I forget, and then about 20 minutes in a warm water bath in the sink does the trick. I have heard that warming up food makes the smell stronger. So, yeah, the stuff from the fridge goes onto a plate and in the microwave for 30 seconds before I give it to her. Spoiled dog. I don't only feed her this, I do mix kibble in with it. And since no spoiled dog dinner would be complete without a bit of gravy, I add a little bit of water in and mix it up. Since all of the joy of food for dogs is in the anticipation of the meal and not in the actual eating of it, I always tease her by letting her sniff it before I give it to her. I don't count it as being mean. I'm helping her to have the best experience. She's such a good girl. In 2 minutes flat, all that's left in the bowl is a little bit of smell, but she will try to lick off every last bit of that smell and come back over and over to be sure it's still empty. If you want to see the first time cameraman and I made these cookies, you will find the video link below. And does Gracie actually like the cookies? Yes, she does.
Next time on Kuny's Cookie Chronicles.
This is the beginning of our 6-part series, Humble Bee. Today I search for new cutters, a bit of inspiration, make the cookies, and unbox some new decorating toys.